My next guest, Logan Washburn from Dallas Express, probably has some hot opinions on this. And I've seen you cover a lot of these stories. And, you know, this is kind of tied because they're protesting the enforcement of our immigration laws. This is all one big messy soup of the Indianization of Frisco and Plano and Wiley and what was going on there last week with the ICE deportations. And your thoughts, are schools being honest with us when it comes to allowing or not allowing kids to protest?
You know, I think that it's probably a mixed bag, like a lot of things. You have maybe administration doing one thing or saying one thing publicly, but on the ground, you actually have a lot of activist teachers in these schools. It's hard for these administrators to be in every classroom to see everything that's being taught to students. And if COVID taught us anything, it's that a lot of things were going on in the classroom that parents weren't aware of. And we only learned about that through virtual learning. And that sort of ignited this whole parental rights movement we're seeing today. Now, today, when you see all these walkouts to protest ICE, it's very important to keep in mind that this is not organic. This is stemming from individuals who are influencing students, and they're trying to use them for political ends.
Oh, definitely they're using them for political ends. Now, Governor Abbott says that the school districts are going to have to enforce the rules as they're written, and you don't get exceptions for political protest. But is there going to be any follow through on that?
Again, I think that's going to depend on the school, right? If they actually follow what the policies are, then you're going to see some order starting to be restored. But let me tell you, you're not seeing this happening at classical charter schools. You're not seeing this happening in institutions that actually have accountability measures. You are seeing these in a lot of the public high schools where they lack discipline and they have a hard time controlling students and just teaching them how to conduct themselves well. You know, it's teaching them how to be respectful of others' time. When you're on school time, you're not being a political activist. Go do that after school, but not during school hours. And it all comes down to the fact that this is being used for political optics. This is not despite what people claim, this is not just students who care a lot and they're all getting together and wow, so inspiring. No, they're being used by activists.
Oh, absolutely. So let's tie this into the other hot button issue. I've seen some great reporting from you in the Dallas Express on the Islamification and the Indianification of Frisco and Plano. And, you know, there was some meetings last week where things got heated. And I saw some of your reporting on that and a candidate forum as well. And I feel like these are all tied together.
Yeah, they absolutely are. I mean, in terms of general trends, right? You see this sort of marketing for outrage that a lot of these candidates have. They're just trying to rile crowds up and get people to get involved, especially in this primary stage of the race. Everyone is campaigning to an extent. And what we saw in the Epic Mosque, where they held the candidate forum, was that when a candidate brought up an issue that people disagreed with, rather than simply voicing concerns in a civil way, they all started shouting. The congregants of the Epic Mosque started yelling and shouting him down. There was an instance where several men had to restrain another man from getting up and
hang on. Did I get this audio from you? This is from Viziri, right? Is that what you're talking about? Okay, let me play this real quick.
Wherever it is. I called out Valentina Gomez for calling all Muslims, dirty names and being a complete bigot and trying to get social media followers. I speak the truth. But I also want to say, as someone whose entire family is Muslim, I'm not down with Sharia law. Sharia law says that women on that side of the room are worth half as much as men. Do you all agree with that? No, that is true. That is 100% true. In Iran, Sharia law says women are worth half as much as men. That is 100% true. That is 100% true. And I'm talking about ICE.
All right. right. Thank you very much for that audio, Logan Washburn from the Dallas Express. Where do we go from here? You know, I hear the governor saying he's going to push back against schools that allow protests. I hear the governor saying, and Ken Paxton saying, that they're going to do everything they can to stop these Sharia cities. But I feel like we're losing this battle, Logan.
Yeah, I think you're right in many ways. We are constrained, obviously, because people rightly want to follow the law. It's very important. You know, you've got freedom of speech, freedom of religion. All these things are in place. And so people are, I think, admirably holding to those guidelines, which is a very helpful thing. But what we need to start doing is looking at the statutes that are already on the books, that are within the bounds of the Constitution, where we can just enforce existing law. And school policy as well is something that they really need to be looking into, because on the state level, you have regulations, but you also have district level rules. And those need to be enforced. So it takes everyone on these different levels actually getting involved and enforcing the laws we have on the books. You know, the Constitution itself, with these Sharia cities, it already has a supremacy clause saying that the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. And that cannot be violated by these sort of enclaves that center around Sharia law. So we need to start looking at these things and actually enforcing them.
Okay, well, great reporting again. Logan Washburn from the Dallas Express. How do we find your work online?
Thanks for having me on. It's great joining as always.
Yeah, follow him on Twitter/X. And if you go to DallasExpress.com, the story we just talked about is pinned as the top story. So you can read more about that there.